The United Arab Emirates built the world's tallest skyscraper in Dubai. Qatar constructed a state-of-the-art capital and hosted the most expensive FIFA World Cup in history. And Saudi Arabia is building a mega city that would probably cost over $1 trillion if ever completed. These countries have rapidly developed, driven by immense oil wealth and ambitious megaprojects. But what is neighboring Oman doing? Do they have their own megaprojects? The answer is why yes, but they're going for a completely different approach. They are building carefully planned districts with a focus on renewable energy, and not a single skyscraper in sight. And today, we're exploring Oman's OWN race against time, a race shaped by limited oil revenues and the pressures of a growing population. Oman's situation. This is one of Oman's visions of the future, a new district in the capital Muscat, comparing it to cities like Dubai or Doha. You're probably wondering, why does it look so small? It's all part of the country's design philosophy. Today, the tallest building in Muscat is just 16 stories high. And that's a hotel that wasn't even built until 2016. To put that in perspective, Dubai had taller buildings back in the 1970s. This isn't because Oman can't build higher. They just don't want to in most cases. To understand why, we have to hop back to 1970. When a sultan named Qaboos took the throne of what was then one of the most isolated countries in the world. Imagine a country with just 10 kilometers of paved roads. A place where most people lived without the electricity, and even finding clean water was a challenge. That was Oman in 1970. But Sultan Qaboos had a different vision for his country. While his neighbors rushed to take inspiration from Western-style development, he took a more traditional path. He didn't want to adapt to the Western style, and instead decided that every building in Muscat should blend with the coastal cliffs and mountains. Some visitors say it feels more like Switzerland than the Middle East, and that's exactly how Oman wants it. Instead of building shiny skyscrapers, they first focused on basic infrastructure and improving the quality of life. Today, the country is facing a new challenge. Oil and gas makes up 50% of the country's GDP, and accounts for about 70% of government revenue because of the way the country's regulations and profits work. Relying so heavily on a single sector is, of course, a huge risk, especially with the world shifting away from fossil fuels. Compared to its neighbors, Oman's resources are also much smaller and the clock is ticking faster than expected. The International Energy Agency has already predicted that global oil demand could peak as soon as 2030, so they have to find ways to diversify their economy. On top of that, Oman's population is set to explode from around 4.5 million to 8.5 million by 2040. And all these people need homes. That's where Oman's Vision 2040 comes in. Oman spent years talking to everyone, from business leaders in Muscat's marketplaces to fishermen in coastal villages. The message was clear. The people wanted progress, but not at the cost of their traditional values. The plan to achieve this is ambitious, like completely rebuilding the economy kind of ambitious. For the last half-century, they've relied on oil. Now they're planning special economic zones to attract international business, massive infrastructure projects to make Oman a regional transportation hub, and something they call the National Program for Enhancing Economic Diversification. And they're rebuilding their entire school program, training the next generation of Omanis for future skills. That means upgrading their education with a focus on creativity, problem solving, and modern tech, like AI, blockchain, and robotics. At the same time, they're restructuring government services, promoting sustainable resource management, and even working to create a circular economy where waste becomes a resource. Besides that, working on infrastructure and housing is crucial. One important development of Oman's Vision 2040 is Sultan Haytham City. Forget everything you know about Persian Gulf megaprojects. There are no artificial islands, robot police, or flying taxis here. Instead, you're looking at 19 neighborhoods spread across an area 3 times the size of Central Park. These neighborhoods might look traditional, but they're packed with cutting-edge technology. Muscat has already proven this concept works. They're installing over 13,000 smart LED streetlights that can reduce energy usage by up to 85%. Sultan Haytham City is taking this idea even further, with a city-wide network of sensors monitoring everything from air quality to traffic flow. Instead of cramming everyone into high rises, they're creating 20,000 new homes of different sizes and styles. but in buildings that don't block the mountain views. Each one is positioned to create natural shade and catch the breeze. On top of that, they're turning a 7.5 kilometers riverbed into a massive central park to 1.6 million square meters that's being transformed into what they're calling a central green spine. During the dry season, it's a massive park with walking trails and recreation areas. When the rains come, this same space acts as a natural flood management system, protecting the surrounding neighborhoods while helping to conserve water. The university campus sits next to innovation centers, and the 39 schools are spread so every kid can walk to class. Even the 25 mosques are positioned so they're just the right distance for daily prayers. There's a 1,200-bed hospital, sports facilities, and commercial areas designed to support local businesses. They're building networks of pedestrian paths and bicycle lanes, and planning a mass transit system to connect it all to Old Muscat. It's a huge, 4-phase plan, and they're taking their time to get it right. The first phase isn't small. It covers about 5 million square meters and includes 6 modern neighborhoods. There will be around 6,700 homes ranging from detached villas to apartments. This phase kicked off last year and is expected to finish by 2030. The remaining phases are supposed to be finished by 2045 and make room for around 100,000 people. So Sultan Haytham City is just one piece of the puzzle. While this new community takes shape on the outskirts of Muscat, something very different is happening in the heart of the capital. To diversify its economy, Oman aims to boost tourism. And while most of its projects are completely different, this one might have taken a bit more inspiration from its neighbors, though on a much smaller scale.